Welcome to the stream. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you're interested, head over to X, post a picture of your team, and let's put your team on the screen. At the moment, this is my team. I have actually made 2 transfers already ahead of game week 24. I'm not usually a fan of going early with my transfers, but I would have gotten priced out if they didn't go early with my transfers this game week. So I have sold Anthony Gordon to bring in Bruno Fernandes. And to allow this upgrade, I had to downgrade Van den Berg, the Brentford centre back, to Mosquera. The reason for going Mosquera is the fact that he potentially has a double game week in game week 26. So I can potentially have 4 double game week players for game week 26 with double defense with Gabriel and Timber, Rice in midfield, and potentially Mosquera as well. Spidey, thanks for joining in. Yo, how you doing? All good? Are you ready for game week 24? And most probably you're going to watch European football, the Champions League this evening as well. I think there will be some interest in the Champions League fixtures, of course. We saw the Chelsea lineup. Joao Pedro, he is actually starting up front for Chelsea this evening, so will be interesting to see if Joao Pedro can start in game week 24 or potentially if the lap will start in the Premier League. Worst game week ever with 29 points. Ooh, that's harsh. I think that's probably a pretty big red arrow. Not great. Worst game week ever with 29 points. I have had a couple of those game weeks so far this season. I actually had one of those game weeks in game week 1, so I know the feeling. It's not really good. Doing pretty good as well, Spidey. Good to hear. Went from 32 to 62, so almost doubling the rank. Play well in game week 23. Hopefully you can strike back in game week 24. Do you reckon Enzo starts Premier? I watched the Chelsea lineups this evening, just talked about Joao Pedro starting. I think he potentially can see rotation with the lap starting this weekend, but I think that Enzo Fernandez is pretty much locked in for this Chelsea team at the moment. So I think he will either play in that number 10 role or potentially a bit deeper. So Enzo Fernandez, my guess is that he will start this weekend as well. Hopefully he can be substituted out around 60-70 minutes this evening. So we'll pay attention to the Champions League matches as well. I'm going to post my team on your Twitter now. Playable, nice. I will get it up on the screen. So if you're interested, do as Playable. Head over to X, the same handle as here on YouTube is at fpltfs. And let's get your team on the screen. So Playable, we will have a look at his team in a minute. He had one of those game weeks, 29 points, almost doubled his rank from 32 to 62k. So still a decent rank, 62k, good position, can of course still have a really good season. Important game, he won't be substituted if they're not winning clearly. Yeah, so hopefully they can get a couple of goals early on. To allow them to save some of their players. So let's have a quick look at that Chelsea side. Neto starting, Enzo Fernandez, Joao Pedro up front, Esteao as well, Caicedo, André Santos, Cucurella in defense, Fofana, Reece James, Augusto. So it's probably just Chalobah not starting that. usually starts in the league. They have Cole Palmer back on the bench. That's interesting. Let's see if he can get some minutes this evening as well. Took a -4 for Rodgers and Mbumo as well, because it was time I finally got rid of Minte. He has been a really frustrating asset to own. We have discussed him earlier as well. I'm going against Enzo because of the last 2 games that he managed to get the return, so I'm betting against him for now. I know the feeling is like when you have this player like Enzo Fernandez, when he feels like he had used his returns, so they will probably dry up. I went to Enzo Fernandez last game week, so hopefully he can continue delivering, but totally get what you mean. But let's have a look at your team. Playable, 29 points in game week 23. So let's have a look at this. Sanchez, same goalkeeper as me, double defense, Gabriel Timber. I had them both really frustrating. I actually thought that Arsenal would win this fixture against Man United, but Man United have been really impressive in the last couple of game weeks, of course. Mukiele, 4 points, Lewis Hall, 1, Bruno Fernandes, 5, Phil Foden, Rice, Semenyo. At least you had Semenyo, captain Erling Haaland, and Igor Thiago. Bit unlucky, of course, with the captaincy on Erling Haaland. We should think that he is usually the safest option. He probably was in game week 23 as well, but he was benched, only 1 point for Erling Haaland. I went to Thiago. It wasn't that much between them in the end, so 2 points for Thiago, 1 for Erling Haaland. But of course, a couple of unfortunate events with this team. Triple Arsenal at home against Man United. We should think that this was a good picture for Arsenal, as mentioned, but 3 points from 3 players. So only a couple of returns. Bruno Fernandes, Mukiele with assists, and Semenyo goal. So I think this team doesn't really look that bad. Bit unlucky in game week 23, but this team certainly can strike back next game week. Wasn't online to get the Haaland and Foden news, so I'm gutted. I was gonna captain Semenyo if I was online for the leaks. I probably would. He was a really good option as well. Could potentially have... What was the safety score? At least could have been a bit closer to the safety score in the last game week if he went for Semenyo captain, but also Hall got his DEFCON removed after the game. I saw this on X, a bit of frustrated Lewis Hall owners. I don't really get why or how they can do these adjustments on defensive contributions that often. Sometimes it's like going from 12 to 9 or from 8 to 11. So it's not like just 1 or 2 DEFCONs. Sometimes it's even more. So this is Playable's team ahead of game week 24. Sanchez still starting at home against West Ham. Seeing that you don't have any West Ham forwards, like I actually have Jared Bowen, so I'm considering to bench Sanchez this game week, but seeing that you don't have any other West Ham attackers, you should probably just start Sanchez. Double up with Gabriel, Timber, Mukiele. Really good fixture. And Sunderland, they are actually one of the bookies' favorites to keep a clean sheet. They are actually second after Arsenal, so your defense with double Arsenal and Mukiele, they are actually top 2 for clean sheets according to the bookies. In midfield, Bruno Fernandes, captain, and Mbumo is in as well, so double up on the United midfield. Rice, Semenyo, Rodgers, Erling Haaland, and Igor Thiago on the bench. Mark Guiu Lewis Hall and Keane. I think this team looks really strong. I think that you will strike back this game week. This game week, my team looks really good. Yeah, I totally agree. No need for any more transfers with this team. You have Lewis Hall on the bench as well, playing against Liverpool. Of course, playing away against Liverpool, even though Liverpool, they're not as good as we're used to from last season, but a tough game for Newcastle. But Lewis Hall, I think that he will start this game, can potentially pick up attacking returns as well, so it's not the worst option. Michael Keane is back as well. I'm not sure if I put Mark Guiu first on the bench. But I don't really think you will need your bench, to be honest, when it comes to your forwards. So Timber is the only yellow flagged player in your team, and Lewis Hall, he will come in, even though you have Mark Guiu first on the bench. The next priorities should be to remove Lewis Hall and Michael Keane. Munoz, Senesi are the preferred targets. Senesi is probably a good option considering the fixtures for Bournemouth. Munoz, I think I will wait a bit on Munoz, to be honest, and see how Crystal Palace, they're actually one of the teams with the worst defensive stats from the last 4 game weeks, and there are some uncertainty around Crystal Palace at the moment, so at 5.8 is Munoz really worth that much at the moment? My first priority would probably be Senesi at this point, but Michael Keane to Senesi. Brantwaite, he is back from injury, so Michael Keane, even though he's back, he will probably be a minutes and rotation risk going forward. So definitely makes sense to do something with your defense, but it definitely looks strong enough for game week 24. Set my team on X from Spidey. Nice, we'll have a look at this as well. Radu Gavriluta, thanks for joining in. Not watching UCL. Actually, I decided to have a stream this evening. I will, of course, follow the games, but not really watching this evening, just on my phone, so decided to do this stream instead. Thing is that on Friday I won't be able to have my usual Friday night Q&A, so going a bit early with the Q&A this evening to cover the most important game week 24 stuff. So I have actually made my transfers early. I will talk about this in a minute, but on the screen at the moment we have Playbell's team. I think it looks really good. I think it's ready for game week 24. It's actually close to my team. I have Haaland, Thiago up front as well. I have Rodgers, Rice, Bruno Fernandes, Timber, Gabriel. But at the moment, I'm actually benching Sanchez. I will surely want Munoz for both games against Burnley and Wolves 26-27. Yeah, at least this was my point. I would at least wait until game week 26 and see how Crystal Palace and Munoz does in game week 24 and game week 25. Brother, I want to ask you for tips about starting a YouTube channel on FPL. Definitely. So first advice would be to actually just record a video and try editing. First videos will probably don't be the best quality, at least unless you have made a lot of other stuff on YouTube as well. So when I started this channel, I haven't really made any kind of videos at all. So I started really fresh. Don't really think that I'm that great at this point. I still have a lot to learn when it comes to recording, editing. It's like my microphone, camera stuff. It's not that expensive, so you don't really have to be expensive. You can record with your phone as well, but I think that at least creating a Canva account, it's free. You will get enough features to make decent graphics on Canva. So my advice would be to just start experimenting with Canva, try to make some nice graphics with some information and upload the graphics to OBS. At least that's the program that I'm using to like add my camera and microphone, stuff like that. And I will have the graphics in the background. So free account on Canva, download OBS. And it's probably just start experimenting. The graphics is the biggest issue. I want them to look clean. So definitely graphics is important. I'm not saying that my graphics are that great, but at least they are better at this point compared to when I started like 18 months ago. So I think you will learn a lot just by trying to put some graphics together. You can like just upload and see how it goes and improve from there. I have seen a lot of like YouTube coaches and stuff like that. I'm definitely not saying that I have enough experience from YouTube to give out such advice, but I think most of those YouTube experts are saying like just start recording, put it out, and just try to improve one tiny thing about every video. So at least this is what I have been trying to do. So definitely not saying that my graphics or my videos are perfect, but at least when I look back at my old videos from like 18 months ago, I can definitely say that my latest uploads are better compared to them. So I saw many tutorials that use PowerPoint. Yeah, probably. So if you're familiar with PowerPoint and if you have access during from a Microsoft account, that's probably just as good. So just anytime playable, let me know. You can send DMs on X as well if you have any questions about starting up a channel, and I'll be glad to help out. But let's have a look at Spidey's team as well, posted on X before taking a look at Radu Gavriluta. I need to refresh this one. So this is Spidey's team from game week 23, 43 points. Probably a small red arrow, right, for game week 23. See if we can get all of the team in the screen like that. There we go. So Verbruggen in goal, 1 point. Gabriel, 1 point. O'Reilly, a bit of a frustrating asset, but at least he came through in game week 23 for his owners with 6 points. Mukele in this one as well. Rice, Elliot Anderson. Actually, was really close to play Elliot Anderson, but he was on my bench. Cunha, great goal from Cunha. Of course, a bit frustrating for his owners, seeing that he was benched in game week 23 as well, but good game week for Cunha, even though he started on the bench. Phil Foden, 1 point. Erling Haaland, captain. Jared Bowen, 12. And Ekitike, 1 point. So, as with Playbill, I think you have been a bit unlucky getting a red arrow with this team. Of course, Foden, Erling Haaland, both of them benched, really unlucky, but that's a lot of money benched, right? Over 20 million on the bench, 2 points for your captain Erling Haaland. Jared Bowen, of course, a solid return from Jared Bowen with goal and assist. Missed the Haaland leaks too, so as same as with Playbill, a bit unlucky. Of course, the same goes for Ekitike. It was a bit surprising seeing that he started on the bench as well. I read some comments from Slut saying that he definitely wanted to start Ekitike against Bournemouth, but it was a fitness issue for the French forward as well. So this team probably looks good in game week 24. So most of those players. And Cunha, he all of a sudden with the news about Patrick Dorgu injury as well, I think this makes Cunha an even better asset. So Jared Bowen on the bench. This is probably the best I can do with this format. Let's see if I can This is close to as good as it gets. For Bruggen in goal, Gabriel, Chalobah, Mukiele. We have Elliot Anderson in the starting 11. Rice, Bruno Fernandes, Rodgers, and so up front Ekitike and Erling Haaland. Strong team, and we have actually a strong bench as well. Jared Bowen on the bench and 2 injured players in Dorgu and Gudmundsson. So I think this team looks good to go in game week 24. I think this team probably looked really good on paper ahead of game week 23 as well. Picked up a red arrow, but mostly because of Erling Haaland, Ekitike, Jared Bowen, all of them starting on the bench. Bruno Fernandes is in. I can see that Phil Foden, he has left this team. Rodgers is in with Enzo Fernandez. A lot of good fixtures. I think this team looks good to go. I really like the defense as well. Chalobah against West Ham, and this is probably one of the reasons why Jared Bowen actually is benched. Used all my 3 free transfers. Team is probably well set up for the next game weeks as well. Double up on Chelsea for their good fixtures. You have Bruno Fernandes in. Rice is a good option. Same goes for Rodgers. Elliot Anderson looks like to be one of the best, cheapest midfielders at the moment, picking up defensive contributions and a couple of assists. Gabriel is in for Bruggen. Rotation with Dubravka, Mukiele. At least for this and the next game week, he looks to be a really good option as well. For game week 26, tough game for Sunderland, so hopefully Gudmundsson will be back. Of course, he will have a couple of new free transfers as well, so can potentially make a transfer in defense. But a strong team. Hopefully, you will get a green arrow for game week 24. Let's have a look at Radu Gavriluta's team as well. 34 points in game week 23 played. Wildcard. So let's have a look at this team. Radu Gaviluta's game week 23 wildcard team went for Sanchez in goal and double up with Shalba in defense. Gabriel, Michele, solid options going forward. Rice is in as well. Garner, good value. Only price that has his price gone up to 5.3. At least it was 5.2. Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, up front, Mane, Thiago, Erling, Haaland. A bit unlucky, of course, with Dorgu. Did well in game week 23, scoring. Of course, did well in game week 22 against Man City. A bit surprising. I actually sold Dorgu ahead of that Man City game. So a bit frustrating, but I would have done it all over again. So, of course, a bit frustrating seeing that he is injured, but you have a really strong team. You have Senesi with really good fixtures coming up as well. So you can potentially just save a transfer and just have Dorgu on your bench. Cole Palmer is actually playing for Chelsea at the moment, so he looks to be back. Will Cole Palmer start in game week 24? I'm not really sure, to be honest, but at least he will have a chance of starting games in the Premier League going forward as well. So with this team, would probably have Mane on the bench with Cole Palmer in the starting 11. Senesi first bench. And this team probably looks good to go for game week 24. Looking to downgrade Ekitike, soon to upgrade Dorgu. Yeah, probably a good option. Ekitike can potentially be replaced. The thing is that there aren't that many great forward options available at the moment, but Ekitike, he is one of the most expensive players in the game, so definitely want to consider downgrading at some point. So let's see if they're... So Chelsea, they have scored Enzo Fernandez penalty. Newcastle 1-0 down to PSG. Goal from Vitinha in that one. Liverpool 2 goals. McAllister, Wirtz. So Liverpool, they are 2-0 up. Man City as well, 2 goals scored. So Haaland, he is back in the starting 11 for Man City and goal after 11 minutes. So Ryan Shirky, he just scored to double their lead. So 2-0 for Man City against Galatasaray. Arsenal, so actually 3 goals scored in this fixture. Arsenal, they are resting a lot of players for this game. Gyökeres scored after only 2 minutes. So Kairat Almaty, they actually equalized on a penalty after 7 minutes, but back from injury, Kai Havertz playing in midfield for Arsenal this evening. He scored after 15 minutes. So Arsenal 2, Kairat Almaty 1. And the last game with Premier League teams involved. Frankfurt playing against Spurs, so no goals in that game. So no goals and no Van de Ven for Spurs. Don't know who to bench. So with this team, I think I would go for Mane on the bench, to be honest. Mane on the bench, 3-5-2. So I think probably Senesi first bench, Mane and Dorgu last on the bench. I think you can potentially just have Dorgu on the bench, save a transfer and have more information. So after game week 25, we will get confirmation about a potential double game week 26. So if Arsenal win, I think their fixture will be played in game week 26. So this means. Let's have a quick look. In game week 26, Arsenal, they can potentially have a double game week playing away against Brentford and then at home against Wolves. So actually a decent double game week for Arsenal in game week 26, but they need to win their fixture midweek between game week 25 and game week 26. Things that they will most probably have a blank in game week 31. Things that they can't really postpone their fixture for game week 22 because they have other European games in that game week. So the most probable thing to happen for Arsenal to reschedule their fixture is to actually move it forward and for this fixture against Wolves to be played in game week 26. So with this team, I would have Mane on the bench, Cole Palmer possibly in the starting 11, Senesi first on the bench, Dorgu last on the bench. Captaincy would... So for me, it's actually between Erling Haaland, Bruno Fernandes, Enzo Fernandes. Can potentially go Rice as well. Haven't really decided on the captaincy, but go vote in the poll. Erling Haaland, he is the favorite at the moment. 43%, 14 for Enzo Fernandes. And actually, other have 43, so it's actually a draw between other options and Erling Haaland. So please let me know in the chat who is the other option if you don't going for Enzo, Rice, or Erling Haaland. So bench Dorgu, Mane, and who else? I would probably just have Senesi on the bench and start Mukiele. So Shalaba, he has to start playing at home against West Ham, probably, seeing that you don't have any West Ham players. Gabriel, he is a lock, so he should start. So I think I would go for Shalaba, Gabriel, Mukiele, and have Senesi first on the bench, Mane second, and Dorgu last on the bench. So unless we get any more updated injury news, we will definitely get more news. But if your player, some of your players are involved in those news, I think this should be your bench. Can potentially consider going for 4-4-2 with Garner first on the bench as well. So 10 minutes left until halftime. So Napoli, they have equalized against Chelsea with 1-1. Newcastle still 1-0 down against PSG. Liverpool still 2-0 up. Same goes for Man City. Same result in the Arsenal game, 2-1. And still no goals in Frankfurt against Spurs. So no more goals. Just as important, no more injuries from all I can see. Spurs, they have had a goal ruled out by VAR. Still no substitutions. Still no injuries. Calafiori, he is back starting for Arsenal, so he is fit. Will Calafiori start in game week 24? I'm not really sure. Will probably start on the bench. Goal for Arsenal 3-1. I think Arsenal, they should potentially win by a lot in this fixture. So huge gap in quality between Arsenal and Kairat Almaty. Anthony Gordon starting on the bench. I have actually been waiting for Gordon to be benched in the Champions League, but he has actually continued starting in the Champions League midweek fixtures and starting in the Premier League as well. So Anthony Gordon, he has actually been transferred out from my team ahead of game week 24 to make room for Bruno Fernandes. So no injuries for Chelsea, no substitutions, but Napoli, they have equalized, so it's 1-1. It's 10 minutes left until halftime. My team is on the screen. I actually have Dubravka in goal. I have Sanchez on the bench, of course. I think most Sanchez owners probably will start him in game week 24. The reason why I've gone for Dubravka, at least at the moment, is the fact that I have Jared Bowen as well. We saw, actually, I can potentially bench Jared Bowen, but seeing that Paqueta is not playing, Jared Bowen first on penalties for West Ham at the moment, so I think we'll probably just start Jared Bowen and go for a punt on my goalkeeper with Dubravka. Van Hecke starting at home against Everton. Gabriel against Leeds. Hopefully Timber will be ready. So Van Hecke, Gabriel and Timber in defense. Enzo Fernandez, Rice, Rogers, Bruno Fernandes. A really strong midfield. And up front, Igor, Thiago, Holland and Jared Bowen. So at the moment, I can potentially have, let's see, Jared Bowen, Erling Haaland, Thiago, Bruno Fernandes and Enzo Fernandez. Potentially 5 penalty takers. Of course, Enzo, he is second in line after Cole Palmer, but scored a penalty in game week 23. Scored actually a penalty this evening as well in the Champions League. So Enzo Fernandez, definitely a man in form. Hopefully he can deliver in game week 24 as well. I have the captaincy on Erling Haaland at the moment. This is definitely not decided. I'm actually considering Enzo Fernandez, Rice and Bruno Fernandes for the captaincy as well. So go vote in the captain poll at the moment. 38% for Erling Haaland, 38% for other as well, 25% for Enzo. So if you voted for other, let me know in the chat who will be your captain. Earlier on the stream, we were discussing some replacements for Dorgu in defense. I have actually gone for Mosquera. The reason is that he potentially will have a double game week in game week 26. So I usually have a rotation with Van Hecke and Van de Ven. I will play Van Hecke this game week. Van de Ven hopefully is back fit to start for me in game week 25. In game week 26, both Van Hecke and Van de Ven, they have a tough picture in game week 26. Wolves, they might have a double game week, so I only really need Mosquera for game week 26. 4.3, he is actually a big attacking threat. They will play against Nottingham Forest and Arsenal, so no high hopes for returns from Mosquera in game week in the game against Arsenal, but I really like double game week players, and hopefully he can get at least one clean sheet or one attacking return. So Elliot Anderson on the bench. I can potentially do something like Anderson in the starting 11, Jared Bowen on the bench, and start Sanchez ahead of Dubravka. I haven't really decided, so this team is not 100% locked in. It's still a couple of days until the deadline, so I will of course give updates closer to the deadline as well. So the reason why I'm going early with the Q&A is actually the fact that I won't be able to have the regular Friday night Q&A ahead of game week 24. I have some commitments, not at home Friday night, so this is the reason why I'm doing a Wednesday Q&A this week. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. I have actually posted a video already about a game week 24 wildcard. I think that this will be one of the most popular game weeks to play the wildcard. There are some fixture swings. Man United, Chelsea have really good fixtures as well. Bournemouth, really good fixtures. So playing the wildcard in game week 24, if your team needs it, of course, I think this is a really good idea. I think that if you're making 6 or more transfers, it's probably a good idea to play the wildcard. But I haven't really considered playing my wildcard with this team. I think it looks good on paper. I have made 2 transfers already, sold Anthony Gordon to bring in Bruno Fernandes, and I sold Vandenberg, the Brentford centre back, to Mosquera. I didn't really need to bring in Mosquera. The only reason is the fact that I actually couldn't afford Anthony Gordon to Bruno Fernandes, so this is the only reason why I sold Vandenberg and brought in Mosquera. But as mentioned, double game week, possibly in game week 26. So this is why I went for Mosquera. Another really good option in defense, if you want to downgrade and free up some funds, is to go for Hill, the Bournemouth defender. He looks to be nailed on, only priced at 3.9. So he is another really good option as well. So let's have a quick look at the Champions League fixtures. So Napoli, they are actually in the lead. The former Man United forward Højlund, he scored right before halftime. So Napoli 2, Chelsea 1. Still no injuries in this game. No substitutions for Chelsea. The next game, let's see. Newcastle, PSG still 1-0 up. No substitutions for Newcastle as far as I can see. Lewis Hall starting, Voltmada up front. So Voltmada, big risk, minutes risk, rotation risk for game week 24. So if you still own Voltmada, I would definitely consider selling ahead of game week 24, as Visa most probably will start. Man City still 2-0 up. Let's see if there are any substitutions. Doku left the pitch in the 37th minute. Let's see what's happened. So Phil Foden, looks like we got the first injury. Jeremy Doku, he left the pitch in the 37th minute. Phil Foden is on, and it looks like Jeremy Doku actually has picked up a hamstring injury. So let's wait for more news, but at the moment, Doku, he looks like a big risk ahead of game week 24. This actually makes Phil Foden bit better, but at the moment I still think that Phil Foden probably is a sell. Arsenal 3, Kairat Almaty 1. Let's see if we have any injuries in this game. No substitutions in the Arsenal game. Calafiori picked up a yellow card. Nothing more. Still no goals in the Frankfurt against Spurs game. No injuries or substitutions in that one as well. Close to halftime. Will be interesting to see if we can get some more news about the Doku injury. Please let me know if you're watching any of the games. What happened to Jeremy Doku? This is my team for game week 24. 2 transfers already made. I'm not usually a big fan of going early, but I had to make my moves a bit early this game week to avoid being priced out. So Anthony Gordon, he is sold. Bruno Fernandes is in. I sold Vandenberg, the Brentford centre back, and I brought in Mosquera. And this was mostly to afford the upgrade from Gordon to Bruno Fernandes. I will have another Q&A tomorrow night as well. Usually I have a Q&A the night before the deadline, so it's usually on Friday nights, but this Friday I won't be able to have my regular stream, so this is why I have a short stream on Wednesday and a short stream tomorrow as well to discuss game week 24. So if you're interested, if you're watching this later, subscribe to the channel if you're interested. So I have posted a game week 24 wildcard team. I usually post pre-hit and wildcard updates ahead of every deadline. I post weekly team selection videos as well with updated watch list, transfer plan, and captain selection. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. So another thing that's new on the channel is the fact that it's actually possible to become a member as well. So if you're interested in supporting the channel by becoming a member, that would be really, really cool. At the moment, I don't really think there are any members at this point. This was a feature that just got unlocked because I reached a certain amount of watch time hours on the channel. But if you're interested in supporting the channel, that would be really cool. So at least if you're interested in the content, it's always, of course, free to subscribe. I think giving this video a like is still free as well, so that would be really, really appreciated. So it's halftime in the Champions League. Napoli 2, Chelsea 1. Newcastle, they scored against PSG Willock, so it's 1-1. French Giants against Newcastle 1-1. Liverpool still in the lead against Karabakh with 2-0 goals by McAllister and Florian Wirtz. Man City 2-0 up, so Erling Haaland, Shirky, 1 goal each, and We also had an injury in that game. Jeremy Doku went off in the 37th minute with what looked like a hamstring injury, so will be interesting to get more updates on that one. Barcelona, they are actually 1-0 down against Copenhagen. Let's have a look at the team. They're actually playing their strongest team at home against the Danish champions, but no goals for Barcelona. Will be interesting to see how this game turns out in the second half. The man of the match so far is Kotarski, the Copenhagen goalkeeper, 8.7 after the first 45 minutes. No goals in Frankfurt against Spurs. And as mentioned earlier as well, no Van de Ven for Spurs. Udogi, Spence, Danso, Romero, Palina, Gray, Odegaard, Sar, Simmons with Kolumani up front. So Solanke not starting. I think this means that Solanke probably will start in game week 24. Of course, not the best picture for Spurs playing against Man City, so no real interest in Spurs player ahead of game week 24. So halftime in the Champions League. I will record my team selection video for game week 24 and I will watch the second half. So thanks all for joining in. I will have another live tomorrow as well around the same time. So if you're interested, join that one. So if you're interested, go subscribe to the channel and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. As mentioned a couple of times, I usually have those streams on Friday, the night before the deadline, but I have commitments on Friday night, so I won't be able to have my regular Friday night Q&A. So this is the reason why I'm having a short stream this Wednesday and a short stream tomorrow as well. But as mentioned, if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. Thanks all for joining in. If I don't see you tomorrow, best of luck for game week 24. Ola, thanks for joining in. I'm actually just Oh, you're heading off? Yeah, I'm actually just heading off. I had a short stream this evening. I will have a short stream tomorrow as well. And this is actually because I'm not able to host my regular Friday night Q&A. So I'm heading off to record my game week 24 team selection video and watch the second half of the Champions League. So if you're able, please join in for the live tomorrow as well. It will be around the same time as this one. So if you're interested, please join that one. We've had a look at a couple of teams this evening, so it will be live reviews tomorrow as well. So if you find the time, please join in tomorrow. I'll catch you in the next one then. Nice, oh lightning. Thanks, FPL Lisa. Hi, thanks for joining in. I'm actually just shutting this stream down. I having a short stream this Wednesday and tomorrow, as well as I will not be able to host a regular Friday night Q&A this game week. So have commitments on Friday night. So short stream this evening, short stream tomorrow as well. So if you're interested, please join in tomorrow. That would be really, really appreciated.